Hi friends. I wanted to just pop on and give you a little update about the class at Christchurch Cathedral for 2023. Now, some of you might be thinking, what class at Christchurch Cathedral? So if you are local, you've been able to come to this class for a while. And if this is the first time you're hearing about it, I'm just going to give you a quick lowdown on what the class is, the theme of the class, what it has been, and now what it's going to move into. Okay. So it's a registered series, typically a season, so somewhere between 10 and 12 weeks, depending on how much the church is being used. And to be clear, this church is held at Christchurch Cathedral. It's not a religious-based class. It's not a faith-based class. We get to use one of the most stunning spaces in Christchurch Cathedral. It's a beautiful room with stained glass visible on either side and an acoustic dome. It's lovely. And in this registered series, we focus on your nervous system and then supporting back health. So we start with a good dose of grounding and centering, and then we slowly flow through therapeutic movements for joint mobility, for flexibility, and for strength. And then we move into the stillness of some yin poses, some longer held yin poses. And then the finale of this practice is a practice called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra, I often say, is sort of like if meditation and sleep had a baby, kind of like that. So it's sometimes called the yogic sleep. You're not actually sleeping, although sometimes that happens. But it's a beneficial guided relaxation where I take you through a body scan. This draws your awareness inward and puts you into a state of consciousness that sits on the border between waking and sleeping. It's very relaxing, really soothing to your nervous system. So that's the class. That's the class description. It's on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time till 7:30, and it's at Christchurch Cathedral. It's a trauma-informed class, therapeutic class, and it's offered on a sliding scale with one scholarship spot available as well. So that's a bit about the class. What's going to change in the new year is, so far this has always been an in-person only class. And, over COVID, yoga teachers have had to pivot in their business, like a lot. Like pivot is just my second favorite word now. And so one of the pivots that I'm having to make in my business now is to try to think of a way to reach more of you without having to teach more classes, because of course I can only teach so many classes. And a couple of my Calgary students had mentioned that they would like a class that was a little later. So what had happened during COVID when everyone was, forced to be at home is I had a class that was, 5:45 to 7:15. Then I had one that was 7:15 until 9. So 2 back to back. But what started happening is that the later classes were not well enough attended for me to keep them going, but the earlier classes and the Sunday morning class were well attended. So I got rid of the 2 later ones because there just wasn't enough demand for them. But then I had a few of you reach out saying that you can't quite make the 5:45 on Zoom, which for those Alberta folks is 6:45. So this got me pondering. And I realized that my Christchurch class, it's not a lot later, but it starts 15 minutes later. And so I've decided to make the Christchurch class a hybrid class for 2023. We're going to do this in January. So here's how this will work. Everybody that signs up for this class will get a Zoom link. You are welcome to come in person for those of you who are local and you want to. And those of you who are not local, you can practice with me on Zoom. So I will have my computer set up for those of you on Zoom, and I will also have the room with people in it. The nice thing about making this a hybrid class for those of you that are local is there are times where you're sick, you can't make it, or work runs late and you can't quite make it in time. And so this way you will have this link that you can practice with at home. So everybody will get the Zoom link, whether you're coming in person or just on Zoom, and everybody will get a recording afterwards that's good for 5 days. So that gives you an opportunity to practice again later. in the week. It also gives those of you that might have to miss a class for whatever reason an opportunity to practice with the video. So how this will work in practice, we're still gonna, play with it and just see how it goes. But my intention at this point is, and the reason that I chose this class to start with for hybrids is that because this is a trauma-informed class, I'm not sitting at the front of the room and watching you all do your yoga. I'm doing the yoga with you so that if at any point you're confused, you can just look over, oh, okay, that's what she means by that. So I do 90% of the practice with you. And then just for the last couple of yin poses, I will demonstrate, I'll get you in, and then I'll come up because I have to set a timer and be mindful of the time. And then I also don't do the yoga nidra with you because I would get so relaxed I'd fall asleep and we'd be there all night. So other than that little bit at the end, I do the whole practice with you. So it makes it an ideal class to do a hybrid because I can set up my computer where you can see my mat and you can practice with me online, or those of you in person. The check-ins will probably be a little different. I think what I'm going to do to start first, and we'll see how this goes, is that those of you that are used to Zooming with me, we'll still do a check-in, but I'll get you to put part of it in the chat. So your name and where you're coming in from in the chat, and then we'll do hellos and how are you, and anything you want to let me know, any injuries or anything you want to let me know, we'll do that. And then I'll also do that with the people that are there in person, and then we'll all practice yoga together. So that's how I'm going to set it up. And just to be clear, those of you on Zoom won't be seeing the rest of the room, and those in the room will not be seeing you. It'll just be like when I'm Zooming at home, except behind my computer will be other people. So that's my plan for the Tuesday class at Christchurch Cathedral. So everybody will get the Zoom link. And those of you that want to come in person, come in person. And if you need to miss a class, or if you run late and you get home from work and you're like, shit, I am not going to make it to the church in time, you'll have a link to practice at home with. And you'll get a recording. So that way, or if you've got concert tickets or you're not feeling well or whatever it is, that means you have to miss your in-person class, you'll have either the option to join us live on Zoom, or you'll have the recording afterwards. And for those of you that do not live in Victoria, this will be just like any other Zoom class for you, in that you'll get the Zoom link, you can come and practice, and then of course you're going to get access to the recording afterwards, and that'll be good for 5 days. All right, so that's that. So this is going to be the first one. I have a feeling in the future, more and more of my classes may end up at some point being hybrid. It just seems to be the way things are right now in the Yogaverse. And so if this time, for those of you that do not live in Victoria, if this time works better for you, so that's 6 o'clock Pacific to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. If that works better for you, you are welcome to join me in this hybrid class on Zoom. And for those of you that, this is your regular class, of course, you're welcome to come back. And for anyone who's new, whether it's on Zoom or in person, you're also welcome to join. And if you have any questions, just let me know below wherever you see this video. Or if you're getting this in an email, you can just hit reply and let me know your questions. Yeah, that's it. So the class again is a sliding scale, and it is trauma informed, and it will be therapeutic, and it will be a hybrid class now. All right, friends, that's all. And if you have questions, let me know.